With Rob Lewis, Brent Hubbs, Volquest.com. It's the fast break presented by our good friends at Exterior Home Solutions. Be sure and check them out online. Give them a buzz for a free consultation for whatever you need at Exterior Home Solutions, whether it's roofing, deck, windows, siding, additions, whatever you need, they can take care of you at Exterior Home Solutions. Tennessee loses in their second straight game in the Maui Invitational, falling to Kansas by a score of 69-20. Rob Lewis, a lot of three-pointers for Tennessee, a lot of continued struggles in the paint, rebounding the basketball and defending.
Yeah, just Hubbard, I don't know if it's how much to take from this. I mean, because Tennessee didn't play great, but they also played the two teams that were ranked number one and number two in the country. When we started this week, so I find myself, I don't want to be overly critical, while at the same time there's a lot to criticize, but it's a small sample size against two teams that nobody's going to be surprised if they're playing in the last game of the year.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, both of these teams are really good teams. So you have to look at it from the standpoint of obviously where you have to grow moving forward if you're Tennessee, because you're in a marathon, not a sprint in a college basketball season. What is the biggest area of growth you think you need to see from this Tennessee team? Not for North Carolina next week, but I'm talking about big picture, long term.
Well, I mean, there's a couple. I mean, when me and you were texting about it during the game, I mean, post offense. I mean, where does it come from? I mean, it's not like Adu or Tobe are completely ineffective down there, but it's also not like you're automatically going to get a bucket or a foul. If you run a set to get them isolated down there. So that concerns me. Not just, I mean, just the fact of getting something easy when you get in the in a stretch like we saw Tennessee get in today during the second half, where the offense just wasn't there. I would say Connect is probably their best paint scorer, but he's not going to get a lot of plays called for him where he just posts some guy up. Now he might if there's a smaller guard, but I mean he's going to take it to the basket, maybe back a smaller guard down there. But as far as just a legit, big guy that you can dump it down with his back to the basket, I think that's a little bit of a liability right now.
Yeah, and then you look at it, and even if you take some of the big men out in terms of them just posting up being traditional offensive players, who's going to get it on the glass for those guys to go get offensive rebounds through dribble penetration? You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like, I mean, Santi got to the rim, but he didn't get it on the glass a whole lot. And Zakai can get down in there, but can he get it up on the glass against people consistently? Who's going to be the person who offers up backside rebounds on the offensive
Yep.
glass for the big man? Is a question I have about this team moving forward.
I mean, Jemai can slash and get in there, but it's he's not going to do it 6 or 8 times a game. But I mean, he can do that with his first step and his athleticism. Connect can certainly do that, but it's not like you don't have one of those jitterbug guards aside from Zakai. And as you mentioned, at 5'7", he's not that much of a threat to finish at the rim, draw the help side defender, like you're talking about. So that's a shortcoming. Dribble Tennessee's better. They're better. They didn't have a guy like Dalton last year that could put it on the floor, and he definitely can. He can drive the basketball. But when you're talking about that, Hubbard, I know, and I don't want to bash the kid because he does a lot of good things. But when you're talking about a guy putting it on the floor, I mean, Josiah Jordan James just continues to be maddening in that regard. Because physically, I mean, you just look at him and he looks like he's built for it.
Yeah, and you just keep waiting for that 10 to 15 foot range game from him and from this team. The pull up jumper's got to be something that some of these guys look at instead of getting it so deep to where they can't get it on the rim. Again, it's early in the season, so there's there's not the panic
Yeah,
that life is over. I
and
mean,
they just played 1 and 2. Let's not
right.
lose sight of that.
Right, and there's a lot of things to build on. I mean, I thought defensively, for the most part, Tennessee was pretty good in 3 games in Maui. I mean, I know there's plenty of things that Rick Barnes is going to pick at, and they've got to do a better job with some dribble penetration stuff. But overall, I mean, they made everybody work for everything. There's a nice foundation piece, as you would expect, for Tennessee defensively to continue to grow from, don't you think?
I do. I mean, now Kansas cut them up pretty good in the second half there, but also again, extreme example. I mean, that's the number one team in the country. But I thought they smothered Syracuse. They did. Zach Edey got his with 23 and 10. But I mean, call me crazy. I thought Tennessee did a pretty nice job on him and Purdue overall. In that game, and I don't think anybody was looking for 27 points out of, oh gosh, the kid's name's escaping me, but I think Rick Barnes would have taken the effort if you just showed him the box score, that what they were going to do to Purdue. And against Kansas today, again, got away from it a little bit. And Hubbard talking about concerns, rebounding a little bit of a concern leaving this one. Now you just played Zach Edey and Hunter Dickinson, maybe the two best big men in the country, but Tennessee beat by 10 and 11 rebounds respectively in both of those games. And we keep saying they played great competition, but if this team's going to get where they want to go this year, they're going to have to beat teams like that.
Yeah, it's certainly a concern there. The other thing too, Rob, I mean, you had the lead by 1 at the half. You were tied in this game against Kansas at the half. Offensive struggles in the second half seem to be a little more prevalent than they were in the first half for whatever reason. Now, 3 games in 3 days, and I get all that, but Tennessee can't have the droughts in the second half.
No, Kansas played 3 games in 3 days too, and was on a shorter turnaround than Tennessee. Played later in the day yesterday. So the narrative, and I'm as guilty as anybody. I mean, the narrative all off season, they're going to be better on offense. They're going to be better on offense. They didn't look better today, and that was with Santiago showing up for the first time all year. I mean, points were still hard to come by. I mean, Hubbard, it's a tie ball game. I think it was 49-49 with 12:47 left in that game, and then Tennessee proceeded to miss 15 of its next 18 shots from the field, and we saw that last year. I mean, are they really better? Was that because of the competition? I don't know the answer to that 5 games into the season, but they've got some questions to answer on that side of the ball for sure.
Yep. Certainly cannot have scoring droughts like that, particularly in the second half, and we have seen them in these last 2 losses for Tennessee. So Tennessee leaves Hawaii 1-2. They come back home, try to get their legs back under them, get the time zone adjustment, everything before heading off to Chapel Hill on Tuesday, where they'll take on the Tar Heels next Wednesday, a week from today, in the ACC SEC Challenge. That's going to do it for this edition of the Fast Break, presented by our good friends at Exterior Home Solutions. He's Rob Lewis. I'm Brent Hubbs. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Your roof. It's the most important protection against nature for your home or your business. That's why I trust the experts at Exterior Home Solutions.